In this Pierson Workholding Q&A, I get the question, Jay, how do I pick a price for my products? Okay, so in this week's question, to preface it, I was recently on a podcast entitled Within Tolerance. It's a machining podcast, kind of new to the market. They've got about a dozen or so episodes. And I took some questions from people online. One of them was great. It was from Adam the Machinist on Instagram, and he asked, how should I go about pricing products? So Adam is a really creative machinist, very experienced in the industry. I've learned a lot from his posts alone. And he also was a previous guest on the Within Tolerance podcast. So I really enjoyed that. John Saunders from NYC CNC recently toured his home shop. His actual company. He has now moved on to becoming an at-home machinist, and such a great episode. I learned a lot in that. So Adam asked about how to price products. So my answer is worth repeating on our YouTube channel. The way that I like to think about it is, number one, if a product is going to be sold, you have to take the buyers into consideration. The buyers are known as the market. So if I think I have the most amazing product, and this has happened, and I price it, and it's either too high or even too low, the market won't feel comfortable purchasing it. For example, we used to have what was called a speed hammer, or it's been a while, speed hammer, it sounds like speed hammer, let's just go with that. So it's a combination mallet and vice handle, kind of like a speed handle, but constructed as a mallet. I thought it was the best idea in the world. I took it to West Tech in about 2005, 2006, one of those years. And people loved it. It was nifty. Hardly sold any. I probably sold 20 over like 4 years. It's pretty crazy. The problem, I think, in my opinion, was that it was priced out. It was a difficult product to make, and I used the cost plus margin. So I just took the cost to make it. There was lots of outside processes like anodizing, 2 lathe parts, actually 3 lathe parts, and broaching. And so I came out with the total cost to make it was about, I think it was about $30. And so I at least wanted to triple my costs. So I sold it for like 90 or 95, something like that. And it just never sold. We use the remainder, we use them in-house. I ended up taking them and putting them on their website and doing a clearance for like $29.95, $30, $40, something like that. Just got rid of the darn things at pretty much, I think, at a loss at that point. So I use the cost plus margin. That works if you're moving commodity items, end mills, things that really don't have a value. In the podcast, I gave a pricing model of taking 3 things into consideration if you're trying to bring a product to market. Number 1 is, what is it? Number 2, what does it do? And number 3, how does it make the consumer feel? So for example, number 1, what is it? In the podcast, one of the hosts makes custom Lego figures and things like little Lego men, hats, masks, guns. They're pretty cool. So let's just say that his products are an ounce of plastic. So what he does is he creates a CNC machined mold, puts it in his injection molding machine, and makes these Lego products or aftermarket Lego products. So then he might sell them not for the cost of an ounce of plastic, which is probably not even 1 penny, but for what it is. It doesn't really have a function. It's a cool thing. It kind of has like It appeals to how it makes collectors feel, like if it's a set or maybe you're some obscure Star Wars character, or I like the ones that are printed with the names of shops on them. I think that's totally cool. So that appeals to what is it? The next example I used is a plastic spoon. So you take that same ounce of plastic and you mold it into the shape of a spoon. Now, no one cares really what is it. They just know it's a plastic spoon. They care about what it does. It takes food off of my plate and scoops it down my gullet. That's all that it does. It doesn't make me feel any better. I don't think about keeping it or collecting it. The only consideration I might give to that spoon is recycle or trash. That's one of the things I have to think through. So there's the second thing. If you're gonna go that direction, it's very much the cost of it plus some type of markup. And the third thing, how does it make you feel? I use the example, not a great example because it's not an ounce of plastic, but the American Express Black, or actually Centurion card. Now this card, you can't apply for it. You find some talk about it online, but it's an invite-only card. I think there's a startup fee of about $7,500 to even be a holder of the American Express Black card or Centurion card, and then an annual fee of $2,500. That is not worth it to me. I think that's kind of a waste. It's kind of a luxury, but quite honestly, the people that would carry this, they're probably pulling it out and they're getting those social kudos, going into a club, a fancy club is what I said on the podcast, and throwing it down is probably gonna turn people's attention, turn heads, and then you get that little ego stroked. But it's still an ounce of plastic. It's not an ounce of plastic, it's actually titanium. I would expect that for a high-end card, but just go with it. Most credit cards are about an ounce of plastic, whatever. So you have three different products. So the spoon, cost plus markup. The Lego figure, that is maybe a little bit of cost, but that's really marketing. How does he get that product out there into the world? And maybe a Lego, something like that, a collectible item, $10, $15, $20, something like that. But then that American Express Black card, that costs someone at least $7,500 to put it in their wallet, and then every year they keep it in their wallet, an additional $2,500. So three different ways of looking at it, three different ways that the market says, yeah, I'll buy that spoon, or that 100 pack of spoon, or I will buy that 1 ounce Lego guy because that's awesome. Or yes, I'm a high roller and nothing says high roller quite like an American Express Centurion card. So that is my approach to pricing products. If you've got a product you want to price, consider, is it a thing? Is it a feeling? Or does it serve a purpose? Hopefully that gives you some enlightenment on how your product should be brought to market and priced appropriately. Hey, if you've got some thoughts on this, go ahead and put it down in the comments section. We'd love to hear if there's a fourth consideration that we should all be thinking about. So until next time, go innovate your production.